Dixie here. Today I want to talk to you about tips every hiker should know about sun protection. This is kind of a timely video for me because I just got skin cancer cut out of my face right up under my eyebrow. So if this side is looking like Frankenstein today, that's why. But for many years, I did not protect my skin while backpacking or even in everyday life, and mistakes were made. That being said, tip number one is don't be afraid to start your day in the sunlight. I know this sounds a bit contradictory to what I was just saying, but I think one of the best things about backpacking is getting out there and getting the sunlight in your eyes first thing in the morning, because it helps us with our circadian rhythm. There is a reason that hikers often refer to 9 p.m. as hiker midnight, and that's because we grow accustomed to getting up with the sun and also going down with it. Not to mention, the sun hitting your bare skin produces vitamin D in your body. And our bodies actually absorb and regulate vitamin D better from the sun than from our diets or even supplements. But some dermatologists definitely think that the possibility of skin cancer is not worth that risk. One study showed that you only have to be in the sun for about 30 minutes to get 10,000 to 20,000 IU of vitamin D. But of course, that's going to vary depending on your location, the time of day, and the season, you know, how close we are on this planet to the sun. But the bottom line is, it doesn't take long to get a decent dosing of vitamin D. So at the latest, you should probably start protecting your skin from the sun by the time you begin hiking, so right after packing up. Obviously, too much sun can lead to sunburn and definitely increase your risk of skin cancer, which brings me to my next tip: wear sunscreen. This one sounds pretty simple, but what kind of sunscreen should you wear? There is chemical sunscreen and physical sunscreen. From what I understand, chemical sunscreen absorbs into the skin, then absorbs the UV rays, turns them from rays into heat, and then releases them from the body so they don't damage your skin. The active ingredients that you'll commonly see in chemical sunscreen might be anything from, and I'm probably gonna pronounce these incorrectly, so bear with me, but avobenzone, octinoxate, and oxybenzone. In contrast, physical sunscreen sits on the skin's surface and blocks the rays like it sounds physically. They just don't allow them to make contact with the skin. The minerals titanium oxide and zinc oxide are typically the active ingredients you'll see in a physical sunscreen. So which one should you use? Well, chemical sunscreen is said to do a better job of rubbing in and being absorbed by the skin, which I will agree to that. And also they say chemical is better if you're going to be doing a lot of swimming or sweating. It's just better at being waterproof, or really, let's be honest, water resistant. Whereas physical sunscreen seems to be less irritating of the skin. It can help moisturize the skin because it's thicker and creamier, but it does sometimes tend to leave like a white film and will be a little bit unsightly or less cool looking than the one that's chemical and clear and just rubs in. However, there are new formulas out that seem to do a better job of blending into the skin, and there are some that are tinted, and I actually use a tinted physical sunscreen on my face every day that was recommended by my dermatologist, and I like the tinted. It just kind of smooths over my complexion while also protecting my skin from the sun. And finally, the physical sunscreens are better for the ocean. If you've ever been to Hawaii, you've probably seen the signs all around about wearing physical blocking sunscreen instead of chemical, because they feel that the reefs are dying because of how much chemical sunscreen is getting into the water. So while you might think, well, swimming in the ocean with a certain sunscreen isn't necessarily relevant to backpacking, I would agree, but I still would have to think, if you're planning on getting into any water source while backpacking, that it's probably better for the critters that live in and around the water for you to use physical blocking sunscreen than chemical. Because there have been some concerns that chemicals in chemical sunscreen are hormone disruptors and can cause cancer, and then also there have been some sunscreens that were recalled in the last several years because they were using known carcinogens, I just go on the safe side and like to stick with the physical sunscreen. Regardless of which you choose, there are some boxes that you want to make sure your selected sunscreen checks off, like protecting you against UVA and UVB rays. You might see it listed as broad spectrum, something that's fragrance free, because why add extra chemicals that you don't need? A sunscreen that will not clog your pores, oil free, paraben free, and sunscreen that is at least SPF 30, but I tend to try to get closer to SPF 50 personally. The stuff that I use on my face is 44. The other stuff I use on my body is 50. And whatever you pick, make sure you're reapplying it every couple of hours. Another type of sunscreen to consider is an internal sunscreen. Astaxanthin is something that has been recently brought to my attention, but it's a supplement that can be ingested to protect your skin from harmful UV rays. I will preface this by saying I have no personal experience with this, but it is something I've looked into and I would like to try. But astaxanthin is apparently a very highly effective antioxidant and seemingly an efficient blocker of UV rays that can help protect your skin from being sunburnt and also from damage that can lead to skin cancer, pre-aging, etc. In addition, it is said to help accelerate the healing process if you do get damage from the sun. I would assume that you have to take it for a while before it'll kick in and start doing its job. So if you're thinking about taking this for backpacking, you might want to look into that and not plan on just starting to pop it when you hit the trail. Also, I'm not suggesting that this supplement should replace other forms of protecting your skin from the sun, but it should be something that you consider as an additional layer of coverage. Next tip is do not trust the base tan theory. I did this for years and it hurts my heart looking back at the videos, especially of me in the desert, where I'm just allowing my skin to cook in the sun because I started off with sunscreen, got a good base tan, and now I don't need it anymore. A tan is the body's way of responding to the damage done by UV rays. And while a base tan will offer something, I read up to maybe 3 or 4 SPF of protection before you burn, this is not going to offer you the same protection as SPF 30 or above, where you're not having to kind of crisp your skin up before you ever start getting that protection in the first place. My next tip is wear clothing that protects your skin. This one seems like a no-brainer, but using it in addition to sunscreen can really help protect your skin the best that you can while you're out there. Obviously, long sleeve shirts, long pants are the best for sun protection. I've become fond of the Columbia button-ups, the PFG fishing type shirts, because they're quick drying and also they're pretty ventilated for a long sleeve top. But apparently the sun hoodie is all the new fuss. I haven't tried a sun hoodie yet, so if y'all have any recommendations for ones that you love, please feel free to drop that in the comments so I can check one out. Also, in the world of clothing, don't forget a wide brimmed hat to help protect your face, your ears, and your neck, which are all places that skin cancer likes to grow. You can get a hat that's got the added flap down the back, or even put a bandana back there, you know, under your hat to help drape something over your neck and protect it. Also, something like sun sleeves are a great addition if you like a short sleeve shirt or you just want more ventilation going up and down your arm. Also, sun gloves, because especially us trekking pole users who have our hands up just frying in the sun, that sun exposure can really add up. My next tip for sun protection is hike with an umbrella. I know the idea of wearing long sleeve shirts and long sleeve pants in the excruciating heat like I'm in right now and melting can be unbearable. So hiking with an umbrella allows you to have more shade over you, so it's not like the hot sun is beating right onto your long sleeve shirt and long sleeve pants. And also, sometimes I like to trade out a hat for an umbrella, so I have the umbrella shading my face and all of the other areas that a hat would, and it doesn't feel so hot because I don't have something right there insulating my head, so it allows a bit more of a breeze. Not to mention that umbrellas can have a dual purpose for, you know, hiking in the rain. And if you're worried about hiking with trekking poles and an umbrella, you can either collapse one trekking pole and use the other one as a walking stick and hold the umbrella, or you can get an attachment piece that connects your umbrella to your shoulder strap, so it's a hands-free type thing and you can continue to use both trekking poles. Another tip for sun protection is beware the sideways sun. It seems that everybody thinks ahead about protecting themselves from the sun beating down from overhead, but as the sun sinks lower in the sky, you've got it coming at you from the side. And so having an umbrella can definitely not protect your legs any longer. Your upper body maybe if you kind of hold it at an angle, but this is where having a long sleeve shirt and long pants really makes sense. So if you're somebody who insists on hiking in shorts, maybe even if you have something like the convertible breeches where you can put your pants legs back on just for this part of the day, or again, reapply that sunscreen. Otherwise, you might find that your legs or part of your face and neck are getting smoked. Another tip for you that I think a lot of people don't necessarily automatically think about when it comes to sun protection is protect yourself from the sun even if it's cold outside. I made the mistake of starting the Appalachian Trail with no sunscreen at the end of March when it was really cold outside because one, I knew I was going into the trail that everybody calls the green tunnel with a lot of tree coverage, and also it was cold outside, so when I didn't have the hot sun beating down on me and I wasn't all sweaty, I just didn't think about protecting my skin, and I paid for it because it was so early in the spring that the leaves had not grown back in yet, and therefore I didn't have that green tunnel protection. The next tip is kind of in the same vein. Take extra precaution when hiking in the snow. Now this could be in the middle of the summer in the Sierra or when it's really cold outside, but the snow tends to reflect somewhere around 80% or more of the sunlight that hits it. So this can burn the crap out of your face, your nostrils, your lips, the underside of your neck. So if it's really cold outside, covering everything up with a buff might be useful, or even just using extra sunscreen or something to try to block that. And in the Sierra, I even put sunscreen in my nostrils so I didn't suffer from a sunburn up in my nose holes. Snow blindness is also something that can happen. It's basically when your eyes have been exposed to too much UV light and they get sunburned. So this brings me to my next tip, which is making sure you have proper eye protection. I always used to rock the $5 special sunglasses from the Dollar General, and I'm certain that those did not protect my eyes and the skin around my eyes properly. So first thing you want to look for in a pair of good sunglasses is one, that they do give good coverage around the sides and just in that general vicinity, the skin around your eyes. Two, make sure that the lenses offer 100% protection against UVA and UVB rays. You might see that even as like a UV 400 marking on the glasses. Finally, consider getting polarized lenses for glare protection. I'm not saying that you can't find a more budget-friendly pair of sunglasses that offer these protections, but make sure they do, because I'm pretty sure those $5 Dollar General specials did not offer that for my eyes. So those are the tips I have for y'all on sun protection, and I hope that this video hasn't come across preachy. Like I said, right now it's just near and dear to my heart. For many years I did not take care of my skin and I have regrets now. A few years ago I had a precancerous spot on my nose that I had to have frozen off, and at that point it was a wake-up call for me. I really started taking much better care of my skin and wearing sunscreen daily, but I guess enough damage was done because here within the last month or two I had a flat skin colored small spot under my eyebrow pop up, and I noticed when it wasn't going away that I should probably go in and get it checked out. They did a biopsy and confirmed that it was basal cell carcinoma. I'm lucky that it wasn't some other type of skin cancer that could have been a lot worse, but I went in for surgery. They did the Mohs procedure, which is actually a kind of cool procedure. I appreciate that they make sure they get it all that day. This procedure was developed in the early 1900s or so, but what they do is they numb your area where the skin cancer is, and that lidocaine injection is no joke. It feels like they're injecting hot lava into your face. But then they cut out an area where they think they get the skin cancer. they cauterize the edges and the smell of burning skin is atrocious. But you sit in the waiting room. I had to wait about an hour or so for them to process my chunk of flesh and make sure that the margins were clean. Luckily for me, the first go at it got the skin cancer, so I only had to endure one more numbing injection so that they could stitch it up. But otherwise, they would have had to numb it again, cut more, check it, and continue until they get it all. But the good thing is, again, you leave knowing you're in the clear. So now I have to wear a bandage on my face for a week before I get my stitches removed. And yes, I'm being bad while recording this video because I can't hardly take myself serious looking in the mirror and seeing that bandage, and I knew that y'all wouldn't probably be able to hear the words coming out of my mouth for like focusing on this bandage. This procedure for me, I don't have insurance. It might be different with insurance, but it costs $1,000. So not only do I never want to have to pay that amount of money for something like this again, but I don't want to go through this experience again. And if I could go back and tell my past self, you know, start taking care of your skin, then I would, and I probably still wouldn't listen. But I'm hoping that for any of y'all who have not taken sun protection seriously, that this will be your wake-up call. Because although some damage may already be done, and this might not be the end of this for me, I do have the comfort of knowing that I'm doing better with my health and protecting my skin going forward. So I'm gonna quit preaching now, but if any of y'all have ideas or tips for sun protection that I didn't mention in this video, please comment those below. Thank y'all so much for watching. Don't forget to share with a friend if you found this video useful, and we will see y'all next time.